Hello and welcome to Quick Start to Coding with Swift. Please may I introduce my co-host, Matt. Matt Hanlon is a long-time software developer, coach, teacher and dad in Ireland.
Thanks, Steve. And may I introduce Steve Bunce, an author, teacher, associate lecturer, and dad in the northeast of England.
Thanks, Matt. We have an exciting session for you today. What good is it to learn how to code if you can't build your own games? Today we'll apply some of our own coding skills to a game of rock, paper, scissors. The brilliant thing about today's lesson is that if we mess up, we can always reset it and start again. What will your game look like? Let's get started. Hello and welcome to our unplugged part of the session. This week we've been thinking about a number of computing concepts. On Monday we were thinking about commands and how you would give instructions and how you would tell Byte to move around the Swift playgrounds. If you remember, we made our paper origami dancers too, and these followed instructions in an algorithm to tell you what to do to make them. Then on Tuesday, we introduced our friend Jimu, the Meebot. Would you like to wave, Jimu? Thank you, Jimu. And we used the Swift playgrounds to simulate moving Jimu around. And the concept we were thinking about then was functions, putting instructions together and commands together to help us save time and be lazy, so we just had to tell it once what to do. Then on Wednesday, we started to think about loops and how we could repeat things again and again to do it. And if you remember, we did lots of dancing then. We did dancing, which was the banana, banana and meatball. And also we repeated our dance of the Ode to Code, where we did the arms up, down, up, round, round, little shake, and then arm up, down, and again faster, and then turn, down, up again faster, and back again, and then round to loop that dance again. So we thought about different dances, and you might have used your own dances. For example, you might have used the Renegade, or you might have used a dance which you like doing. But we were thinking about loops and repeating moves. On Thursday, we did about variables. And we talked about your dances, and we thought about the different variables involved in your dances. Whether it was a string, which would be the name of the dance, or whether it was just a number, an integer, which you would use there, where it might be the duration, how long the song was, or how many dance moves there were in there. So we were thinking about variables then, and we did our Swift playgrounds where we were looking at collecting the gems. So that brings us to today. Now today we've got an exciting session for you, because we are going to be doing about games, and the game we're going to play today is called Rock, Paper, Scissors. Rock, paper, scissors. So hopefully you know the rules of this game. You go 1, 2, 3 and show either a rock or paper or scissors. If you have a rock and someone else does a rock, then that's a draw and you go again. If you have a rock and they have paper, they win because the paper wraps over the rock. If you have a rock and you have scissors, then you win because your rock will blunt their scissors. Okay? If you have paper and the other person has paper, it's a draw. If you have paper and a rock, then paper wraps the rock and you win. If you have paper and they have scissors, then unfortunately they win because they can cut your paper with the scissors. And finally, if you have scissors, then scissors against scissors is a draw and you play again. Scissors against a rock, you lose because unfortunately the rock blunts the scissors. But if you have scissors and they have paper, then you win because then you can cut the paper. So hopefully you've played this before. We're now going to play it with everybody, and then we're going to go over and visit our school with Anders in Sweden and to see what he is doing with his class. So, just to start with then, let's have a game, me and you. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. Did you beat me? Let's have another one. 1, 2, 3. Did you win? And last one. 1, 2, 3. There we go. Now, your score, the number of times you either won or lost, is a variable, and that's again what we've been thinking about. So it's all coming together today. So I'm really excited, and we're going to go over to find Anders in Sweden and his lovely class, and we're going to be thinking about games today, and Matt's going to help us code our game in Swift Playgrounds using rock, paper, scissors. So I'm excited. I think I might just put on my dancing shirt just for all the games. So are you ready? Let's get playing. Good morning, everybody. Hello, Sverige. Welcome, everybody. We are thrilled to return to Sweden again to visit the classroom and the wonderful students who are going to be playing rock, paper, scissors this morning. So you can see they are warmed up and ready to go. And we're going to play rock, paper, scissors together. Let's check out their speed and accuracy.
Yeah.
Winner.
Yeah, very good.
Ja. Kolla, ska ni köra? Ylva, är ni med? Amazing, thank you.
Very good.
Sigge, ska vi se då? Jag spelar igen då, Sigge.
These are very intense competitions.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go down here. Kör igen. Amelie, kör igen. Ah, great.
Very
Very
serious
good.
competitions. Wow.
This is some fast, guys. Do it again, Anton.
So fast. Look at that speed. Very good. So this is brilliant because this brings together all we've been doing all week of the games and the commands and the variables and the loops. Look at this.
It's pretty cool.
They're so fast.
Yeah.
That is,
You know, it's only got one arm because it's yesterday.
with just one arm so fast.
Yeah, rock, paper, scissors injuries. Not good. Not good.
Oh. Aha. That is brilliant, Anders. Thank you so much. We shall rejoin you in a moment after the coding session.
All right, that's right. So let's go pop over to do a little bit of coding. All right, so we've been through a lot this week. This is the exciting part. This is the whole point of this is why you learn programming, so you can build games, and that's what we're going to work on today. We're going to use some of the concepts that we've learned over the last week. So we learned very early on Tuesday, we learned about the func keyword. Very important tool for building functions. We can group code that we want to call over and over again and just be able to refer to it with one line. Then we learned the for keyword. So we learned how to loop over our code. So solve puzzles that have certain patterns. And if you, every time you say the word patterns now, all you can think of is banana, banana, meatball, I'm sure, if you're anything like me. And then the last one we learned was yesterday. We learned about the var keyword, where we can define variables and store information in it to use later. Hugely important concept in coding, and something you're going to use a lot as you keep going in your coding career. So what we're going to do today is jump into Swift Playgrounds again and use some of those concepts. We're going to be playing with the rock, paper, scissors playground. If you don't have it already, go down to more playgrounds, hit see all. It's going to be in the challenges section. So we're going to scroll over to the side. We can see that there are a lot of different challenges here, and they give you the levels that they're at. So once you get a bit more experience, you can try out the intermediate levels or maybe the advanced ones. We're going to get rock, paper, scissors. So just hit get. I've already downloaded mine, so I'm going to open up this one. And this tells us all about rock, paper, scissors. And now Steve's already explained the game mechanics to us, right? What fist beats which other sign. So we have scissors, we have paper, and we have rock. And he's explained what each one will win over the other one. Very important when we're trying to design a game is we need to think up front about how it's actually going to be played. And the beautiful thing about Swift Playgrounds and this playground itself is that we can play around with it and experiment with different game mechanics and try out different symbols and different signs and see how that works out for us. So let's start it off on this very first page. There's a bit of code written for us. We create a game, we load some settings, and we play it. Let's hit run my code to check it out. Now this code is a little bit different than what we've seen so far. This let keyword is very like the var keyword that we used yesterday. We're creating a variable that's not going to change called game. And then game has some functions defined that we can call on it. So we can say game.load default settings is just telling the game, hey, this is a function I want you to perform. So somebody's written all this code for us already. So it's not too dissimilar from what we've been doing all week. So now, once we hit run, we can hit this go button. I can also pick different signs. So I can pick paper, scissors, or rock. I'm going to pick rock, and I'm going to hit go. My opponent shows up, my little robot opponent. All right, so I won the first one. When I win, a bit of my circle gets colored in. I can play the next round. I'm going to pick rock again. I'm going to go again. I won again. All right, let's play the next round. I'm actually going to pick paper. We're going to hit go. Oh, we had a tie. So no one wins. No one gets any of their circle filled in. We'll hit the next round. Let go again. Paper again to another tie. Let go to play the next round. Tie again. And again. Have you won yet? I won. Okay, and so when I win, I get this little trophy. I get a little animation and everything. Now we can start to customize this game a little bit. So let's go on to the next page by hitting this arrow here. And remember, in our playgrounds, we can always tap on the name here, and we'll see the whole table of contents for our playground. So now we have a chance to do one of my favorite things as a programmer. We get to go into someone else's code and tinker with it a little bit and change a couple of things and see what happens. That's a lot of what coding is we just change some things, see what happens. If it doesn't work out, try it again, run it again, and see how it performs. So in this case, we have our game. This is a comment with these 2 slashes, so Swift ignores this, but we can leave messages for ourselves or for people who are going to edit our code to say, okay, to modify our setup code, edit setup game in the shared code file. Okay, well, we won't bother with that. We're actually going to make all of our changes in here. So this next comment says, example, changes the game prize to donut. It says to preserve this code in your game, we'd have to put it into shared code. Well, I'm only going to keep it in this one, so I don't mind where it goes. So I'm actually going to change the game prize from a donut. I'm going to delete this. I'm going to hit the little smiley face on the keyboard here to bring up the emojis. And instead of a donut, let's see, I'm going to make the prize a puppy, because that's always a great prize if you win. Now, we talked yesterday about variables and types of variables, and one of them was a string. So believe it or not, even though it looks like a picture, this is actually a string, this puppy. So we need to surround it in these quotation marks. So the error that it's giving me here looks like Greek, unless you're Greek, and then it looks like some other kind of language. Unterminated string literal just means I need double quotes around my string. So I'm going to go down to the L key, and I'm going to pick the double quotes. So now the only thing I've done here is I've changed the game prize. If we take a look, I'm going to hit the return key. I'm going to type in game by hitting the autocomplete bar there. In the autocomplete bar, I have a dot. And when I hit the dot, it gives me some of the properties that I can change on my game. So I can change the inner circle color. I can change my color. I can change the number of rounds to win. I'm going to actually make this game super fast by saying rounds to win. And remember, yesterday we used the assign operator, this equal sign, to assign a value to a variable. Well, guess what? This rounds to win, that's a variable. And we can assign it a number. So I'm going to say you need 1 round to win. And that's all I'll change for now. So I'm going to hit run my code. Actually, before I hit run my code, what kind of changes are you making to your game? Now, in the very last playground page we're going to work on for this week, we're going to go crazy customizing our game. But for now, what kind of things can you tweak on it? Did you add a different color? Did you change the number of rounds to win? Maybe you want to have a really long game. It's a good way to waste time in class if you make a really long game. Take a lot of rounds to win. Maybe you didn't want a puppy. Maybe you wanted some other kind of food. Donuts are pretty good prizes. What kind of customizations have you come up with? Feel free to drop them in the chat if you've customized anything. Now, I wonder, Anders was telling us that he's undefeated in rock, paper, scissors in real life. I wonder how he's done in code. You can tell that I'm not undefeated. I had a terrible week last week. So let's try running my code. All right, the game looks exactly the same. I can pick from one of the 3 actions. I'm going to pick scissors, and I'm going to hit go. I'm going to play the robot again. Okay, we had a tie. We'll play the next round. I'm going to stick with scissors. Oh, nice. I won. And my prize is a puppy this time. Not a trophy, not a donut. I got a puppy. How did your game turn out? So this was our very first pass at customization. I see we had pizza. Somebody had that. Is there a prize? That's a pretty good prize. What we're going to do now is we're actually going to jump to the solution. So we're going to tap on this one, tap on the solution page, and now we can see a ton more code. I love going through playgrounds like this, like I said, because you can look at what someone else has done, you can make little changes and see how that affects the game or the app that you're running. It's the way you learn how other people, how more advanced programmers have done things that you might want to do in your apps. So if we look here, we have our usual thing. We have our game variable. We have a function here that we're familiar with, and we can know it's a function because of the func keyword. So in this setup game function, we do things like we have a rock, paper, scissors, hard rock, double paper variable. And then we have some rules for the actions. So if we ever read through this, we can see that, okay, rock beats these 2 moves. This is called an array that you'll learn about more if you go further in depth in rock, paper, scissors. But basically, it's just these square brackets. And each element in the array, it's a list of things, like your contacts list, is separated by a comma. And what we've done is we've put some of those variables we defined, like double scissors and scissors, into that array. And we were saying that the rules of our game are going to be that rock beats double scissors and regular scissors. So these are all, that's that game mechanics stuff that we talked about when Steve was explaining what beats what. So rock beats scissors, but it loses to paper. That's where we code that part of our game logic. We've got this cool functionality here. We have a ghost hidden action that loses to all other actions. So these hidden actions are going to be things that show up if we pick a random action. And you can see here, now we might not know all the syntax, exactly what's happening here, but we have an idea because we've learned about loops on Wednesday. We see that for keyword. So we're looping through, and if we read this like an English language sentence, we can see that we're looping through all these game actions. And then for each action in that list, it must be a list, we're going to say that they beat the ghost. And then we have another property here, another variable called unicorn, and we're setting that so that that beats all other actions. It's a pretty good superpowered option to choose. And then here we're adding the opponents for the game. This is where comments come in really handy because we can read the comments and understand what the programmer intended when they were writing this code. We can also configure, like I did, rounds to win. We can change the game prize to ice cream if we want. And we can also change these colors. These color swatches are really handy in Swift Playgrounds because I can change my color for the game just by tapping on that swatch. And a color picker will come up. And I can say, okay, cool, I'm going to pick this color here. We can change the main button color, change actions, buttons color, and then some of the background colors. Now this thing here is all one giant function, all this, with all of our game logic in it. So what we're going to do now is it's a bit of coding time for us. We're going to customize our game. Now, I'm going to leave the game logic alone because we might need to go out and grab our notes application to write down what it is we want to have happen because we want to make sure that we're very clear in our game what's happening. But one of my favorite things to do here is to theme this game. So I can add opponents based on whatever theme I pick for the game. So maybe I've just been reading James and the Giant Peach or a similar book or watched a movie recently. And I've said, actually, do you know what? I want to use the characters from James and the Giant Peach as my opponents. So let's change it. We're not going to use a lion then. We'll go here and pick a spider, just one spider, not two. We'll get rid of the frog. We'll put in let's see, a ladybug or a ladybird. We'll get rid of the panda. And we'll put in the grasshopper. And then my last opponent that I'm going to be playing against is going to be, let's see. If your emoji goes away, you might have to just tap again in the text area. Let's see. So I'm not going to have a monkey because that doesn't exist in James and the Giant Peach. I'll put a caterpillar. Now instead of 5, let's do 3 rounds for me. How many rounds have you picked? And then for the game prize, we're going to have, let's see. We'll have a peach for our game prize. How about that? Okay, cool. So I've got my game prize. And actually, do you know what? We'll add some hidden actions. So we'll change the hidden action. So instead of ghost, we'll make that they run into some sharks in James and the Giant Peach. So we'll make that one of our hidden actions. And then maybe instead of unicorn, we'll do seagulls because they kind of help them fly away. So let's see if we've got any birds. We've got chickens. That's maybe the closest. Tell you what, we'll do an eagle and pretend it's a seagull. All right, so now I'm ready to go. If I hit run my code, though, I have a small problem that you might have too. I had that same error. Can anyone remember what that was? Unterminated string literal. What do I have to do there? Maybe I need to add that closing quotation mark. So I'll touch on the L and drag down to get the closing quotation mark. And my red dot goes away. Everything's good to go. When I have a lot more code like this is a lot of code, and I do have errors, the red dot will actually show up at the top so that I don't have to go hunting for it. All right, so let's try running my code. Let's try playing this game. All right, so here I have my game. I'm going to hit the arrows to see what actions I have. Hard rock, double paper, double scissors, and then I have this question mark. Let's try using the question mark. What that'll do is that'll pick a random action for me. So I'm going to hit go. There are my opponents. Oh, that eagle, the eagle wins. All right, let's try doing another round. So Ladybug is ahead. We'll hit go. Oh boy. All right, eagle, I got beaten again. It doesn't help that I got the shark that loses to everybody. Let's go again. You can see that each of my opponents has gotten a different color for their winning ring color. Let's see. Let's do next round. Tell you what, I'm not going to do random anymore because that keeps giving me the shark. So let's go with double paper. It's not looking good for me. Ladybug is ahead. All right, we'll hit go. Now, what kind of theme did you come up with? Did you come up with a literary theme? Did you come up with a movie theme? Last week, these guys came up with a couple amazing themes in the classroom. Okay, Ladybug won. I feel like it was unfair because she kept picking the eagle. And then we can try again. So this is excellent. This is a great opportunity for you to show off your coding skills, change some code that someone else has written, and use some of the concepts that we came up with. Like functions, like for loops, like variables. And then hand over your game to your friends and have them play and see how it works out for them. See if they enjoy the game as much as you enjoy writing it. And again, if you ever get stuck and it gets into a giant mess, you can always go up to this triple dots and go reset the page, and it'll throw out all the changes. It'll go back to the default state of the page, and no harm, no foul. So that's rock, paper, scissors. This is the whole reason why you become a coder for a lot of people, is you want to learn how to make games, you want to entertain people, and you want to do something with that code you're writing. So this is a great thing to be playing around with. And this is why I became a coder, is so that I could do things like this. Now, we had a good question about, we enjoyed this week, what can we do next? Now we've been working off of the Quick Start to Code, which has these 10 days covered. So we've covered Meat Bite, we've gone loopy, we've gotten groovy, we've tracked the gems, and today we played our own game. You could go back yourself and have a look at things like Control the Portals. It tells you what playground you're meant to use and what skills you're learning that day. Steve and I hope to be back very soon with a couple new videos where we'll go through some of these days with you. So if you're dying for more dancing or anything like that, we'll make sure to get your dancing fix taken care of. Create with Shapes is another really fun playground. We also have, on our little mini site, we have a Going Further page where you can look into things like Everyone Can Code Puzzles, Everyone Can Code Adventures, which take you through all these Swift playgrounds. And it's a great introduction to learning how to code. And there's other things like the MeBot playgrounds, and we give you a link off to their site if you're interested in getting one of those. We've got more playgrounds from other providers. Like I know we have some for the Code Hub that you can learn how to drive a monkey around the screen and draw shapes. You can tell your own text adventures and code your own text adventures. We highlight a couple of fun things like Sonic Workshop, where you really build your own app inside Swift Playgrounds. And augmented reality, there's an excellent augmented reality playground called well, there's Sensor Arcade, and then there is a really good augmented reality playground where you can actually write code to put digital objects out in the real world. And then if you're going even further, there's starting to build real apps with Xcode and the tools that professional developers use every day. So that's where you'd go further. Let's go back to Sweden and check out how the guys are doing and see what kind of stuff they've come up with. Hey again, guys. How'd the coding go?
Hi. So I'm going to take my iPad and walk through some of the. We're going to start with Carla. Just needs to put her iPad up. Dra längre, Carla. Dra längre. So this is the pollution coding. Oh, sorry. Sorry. Like that, maybe. Yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah, I see the plane.
You see the plane? Yeah. Press go. Decide with the plane.
Okay, what other options can you get other than the plane?
Yeah.
Vad gör man nu?
Nästa rond. Klicka på nästa rond. Gå.
Okay,
this-
and you're playing against a tree. Ooh,
Yeah.
okay, good.
So no more flights, okay? So we're going to go here to Anton, who has the water cycle. Yeah, I think there. So we lost the ice lost against the sun.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, and the cloud is losing against the earth, right?
I love it. I love the way you've themed it, and also the way you've changed the colours and put it into the correct language.
So we have a project in the class that's called Jeans for Africa, where we're going to sell old jeans and buy wells in Kenya. So here's Gisette, who has coded rock, paper, scissors on that one. So press go, Gisette. So the water is
Very
winning
cool.
against the jeans.
Good,
Great.
good.
And the chemicals are losing against the dinosaur, right? Great.
Brilliant.
One last for the road, as you say in England. So we have David. That is yeah.
Perfect.
So that's I don't see it's the water that is losing against. No, the people are winning against the water, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And try it again. And you see the virus there, so the water is
Yeah.
a tie. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
obviously.
Ah, cool.
Yeah, so the water, yeah. So
Brilliant.
that's some of the things that we have come up with during this session.
That is wonderful. Thank you so much, Anders.
Thank you.
And thank you, everybody. Tax Faria.
Tack själva, thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys. And thank you for joining us this week and last week. We had a ton of fun going through these quick start to code with you.
And it's been a wonderful
you.
journey. Thank you, Anders. Awesome.
Take care. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
See ya.
Thank you now. Goodbye.
Bye.
That is brilliant. So yes, we've had a wonderful 2 weeks doing these, and we've covered lots of things from the commands to thinking about the variables and the functions and the loops. And as Matt was telling us, not only is there what we've done this week, but also on the website there's some ways to extend what you've done, and also those great Apple resources. So do search online, search for Apple, Everyone Can Code, and you'll find a whole range of resources where you can take lesson ideas and you can put those into your curriculum. You can use them in your coding clubs, or you can just use them at home. There's so many great resources in there for you to use. So,
Exactly.
Thank you, Matt.
Well, and those guys from Sweden did a great job showing us that you can apply them to so many different topics too. Between the science and the water cycle and their project in Africa, that's amazing.
So it's from Jimu. We're going to say goodbye, and we're going to say thank you, and see you again soon.
See you soon.